on. This is a third-person open-world game, like action roleplay game, I'd say. It's made by Guerrilla Games and was originally exclusive for PS4, but got a PC port like a month ago, maybe, more or less. And so if you haven't played the game and you want to play it, we'll be giving you some spoiler alerts, and then you might want to have a pee break or something to not get spoiled. But mainly, you won't get spoiled by the run because we'll skip all the dialogue and cutscenes anyway, as far as possible at least. And I think that's about it, everything I wanted to say. So I'll be starting the run, and the time starts as soon as I skip the cutscene. In 3, 2, 1, off we go. Now the first thing you'll notice is I'll be rolling at the speed of sound. Not really, but rolling is actually the fastest way of movement in this game, at least until you call yourself a mount, which will be in a bit. Until then, I'll be rolling. One thing to notice is this game has something called a long roll, and when you learn that ability, it's pretty difficult and pretty finicky to get the timing down to do consecutive short rolls, which was a little bit of a pain for me, but the other option is to set up a New Game Plus save file. Oh, I forgot to mention we are running New Game Plus on story difficulty. So yeah, setting up a New Game Plus save file is like an endeavor of 100 hours or something. So to be honest, I'm not willing to do that. I'll just go through the pain of having to get the timing down. Lucky people who are running on PC, because with the cheat engine you can just learn and unlearn abilities at will. Wish I could do that.
Whatever they're hunting out there, it doesn't sound easy.
So now we are on the way to our first little fight, if the PS4 lets me.
Good night.
And you'll be seeing me using a weapon called the Storm Slinger,
What sort of beast was that?
which is...
Tribe calls it a sawtooth. Many braves.
Yeah. I should stay out of sight. I can use the tall grass to approach.
Dawn has passed. This will be when it.
I'll...
Aloy. So. Look for. You should be. For you.
Are you...
Can you hear me? I don't think we catch your mic sound right now.
John, get down from there. Bad enough you're drunk.
Listen carefully.
Why do you have to
now.
go climbing houses?
But you'll have to tell this when I'm gone.
Not supposed to go. Aloy, over here.
Unknown. You're the...
Can people in the stream hear Rob? Otherwise, I will compensate on the run, I guess.
I can now hear you. Could you hear me?
I can hear you, Rob.
Yeah,
That's good now.
We couldn't hear you the past 3 minutes, I think.
Oh shoot! I was talking so much stuff.
Yeah, we were thinking the chat is like, you're really quiet. And I wasn't sure.
Last thing I heard was you talking about the Storm Slinger for a little bit.
That's good enough. So maybe you want to explain a bit the setting of the game, Brewing.
Yeah, the story of this game is set 1,000 years into the future. And as you can see, Aloy's rolling around in a village that seems very old and doesn't use any technology. And that's because the society as we know it, that fell and everyone died and was gone. And the point of the game is that Aloy wants to know what happened to the old ones, as they call it. And yeah, that's why you're in a old tribe and have no technology.
So upcoming is one of the first skips in the game, and it's pretty notorious for dying because you drop down a pretty deep latch, and if you drop down like 2 or 3 centimeters more, you're dead. So it's pretty much at the limits of what you can do, and so if you mess it up just a tiny bit, you actually die and lose a bit of time. Also, when you're out of bounds, there are a ton of death walls, which as soon as you touch will kill you without any further warning. So you gotta know your way around down there. Also, you'll be seeing me aiming right before the impact, which cancels the falling damage animation, but doesn't save you from the falling damage. So you can still die nonetheless. But at least you can continue running right away without having to wait for Aloy crouch in pain.
Faster. Stop dragging. Gotta keep going.
That was, by the way, not the skip I was going for.
No, it can be risky rolling around in this part of the game because when you fall down very far, or you hit a death wall. So as you just saw, it can be really tricky.
The outcast is catching up.
How'd she get up there?
And also many of the
This is
skips in the game seem really easy, just like this one. But they are more difficult than they look.
I've trained my whole life for this. They had a tribe, but I had the wilds. Precision. Not enough. Must be perfect.
And now we're in the very first fight against other people in the game. And as you can see, after Robs has killed all the people, he will throw down some bombs. And that's because this fight works in waves. And after you kill all the people in the first wave, you still have a little bit of time when nothing happens and you just have to wait. But if you use that time to place some bombs, some proximity bombs, the next wave will trigger those proximity bombs and you will instantly kill some people the next wave. So we use that strat to kill some people immediately, which of course saves time.
So this is one of the few cutscenes that are not immediately skippable. You've seen one of them before the proving. And those count as loading times as well, because what we haven't mentioned yet is that the times on the leaderboards are timed loadless. So all the loading screens will be removed to more or less even out the playing field between people running on HDD versus SSD or even on PC, which is even faster.
There. With the rest.
So you'll see some blue glow there at Aloy's armor, and that is a so-called Shield Weaver. As we play New Game Plus, we can have all the equipment we want, and this is a very useful piece of equipment. As you see in the top left corner, we have like a blue health bar on top of our actual health bar, and it replenishes if you just don't get hit for a while. And this is very handy for those skips that we just did, like where we drop down some ledges and take intentional damage to to get some shortcuts.
Is my mother here?
Yeah, and with the Shield Weaver, there is some difference between the story difficulty and the ultra hard difficulty. Because on the story difficulty, the Shield Weaver, the Shield Weaver's shield can take a lot of damage, and you basically will never run out of shield in any fight. But on the ultra hard difficulty, the shield is way less. Like it can take way less damage. So fights are really risky because you can easily use your shield and then lose health and die. But then on story, dying from fights never happens basically.
Okay, now so we have to wait for Grandmother Tirsa. Actually, High Matriarch Tirsa, but she's a granny, I'm sure. That should also explain why she takes so long to get here. If we would try to leave the cave earlier, we would get a cutscene and be sent back inside.
Well, story-wise, she's a great granny, so that may explain why she's even slower.
Nora faithful. We will soon begin. Purify.
So upcoming is another leap of faith. That was a close call.
Yeah, and you may think, why did it take so much damage? It's story difficulty. That's because on the fall damage on ultra hard difficulty, on any difficulty, whatever, it's all the same. So the only time you die in this run may be because of fall damage or death walls, because fall damage is all the same.
Won't be long. Gotta get in position. Here it comes.
What you might have seen me do there is I threw a bomb outside the gate, which made the corruptor, which is that big machine, pop towards us. This saves a bit of time, as we don't have to wait for the corruptor to walk towards the gate and jump into the fight, and we can kill him sooner. It's a rather recent fight. Strat, sorry. Was found like 2 or 3 months ago, I think.
It worked.
Now there we go. We now
There we go.
get to call ourselves a mount, and finally we can gotta go fast. Now we can.
No. If isn't I should where I should try
As you may have heard, there is this mechanic by which you can whistle for a mount. So you just press a button and you whistle, and a mount will appear out of thin air, and we will use that many times.
Now you see me following the paths and not going like in a perfectly straight line to the destination. That is because the mount is actually faster on a road and will only leave the road at a handful of occasions during the run, because then it's actually faster to cut across and just go in a straight line. But for the most part, we'll stick to the paths. Also, you'll notice that the mount sometimes behaves a little weirdly. You just gotta love the mount AI in this game. It can really screw you over, especially in a speedrun. Because mounts have their own mind. They try to stick to the path unless you turn that setting off, and they also try to avoid running into obstacles. I mean, that's kind of natural, but that's also very annoying at times. So it takes a while to get used to operating a mount. And they will screw you over nonetheless at some points.
Yeah, the mount AI is one of the few downsides of this game, but one of the very few, I should say. Something you might see Rob doing over here is go to his options menu and restart from save. He will do that right now, and that's because when you restart from save, you actually skip forward a bit in the mission. And like in real time, it's not fast because you have a loading screen in between. But because we subtract those loading screens into leaderboards, it's actually faster without the loading times. So that's why we do it, and you may see Rob do it multiple times during this run.
Oh, HDD gang. I couldn't select that dialogue option for like full 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's something that happens too sometimes. Sometimes you cannot select dialogue option for some reason, and that's pretty annoying, but it happens.
After the killers from the proving. Maybe I should try to find her.
So now we're just gonna head on over to a town where we have to talk to a certain Maria, and Rob's gonna do something special before he enters the town, as you'll see in a bit. Because when he gets off his mount, he will throw a bomb to make his mount hostile to himself. And why he does that is because after we get out of this village again, on the other side. If we want to whistle for a mount again, the mount you had before that will try to come towards you, but that means he will have to walk all the way around the village. But if you turn that mount hostile, that mount will not try to come to you again, because it doesn't like you anymore. But as you just saw, because he whistled, a new mount spawned, and that spawn is much better than having to wait for the mount to go all around to walk all around the village.
The flames burn stronger than usual. The flames, they're burning it.
Also, you might have noticed I turned my camera before I whistled for a mount. That influences the chances of where the mount spawns, because the mount never spawns where you look at. Because that would kind of look weird, obviously, if a mount materializes out of thin air. So we use that strat pretty often and look into that direction where we explicitly do not want a mount to spawn, as that would lose the most time.
And the machines Rob's gonna kill in a moment, and has just killed, spawn in 2 zones. And for the story, you need to kill or clear 2 zones of machines. And he just cleared the first zone, and now he's walking to the second zone. And after that, he will go to a certain gate, which we will have to pass. And also, you may have seen an example of bad mount AI just then, because the mount was just hopping around and being really slow.
Corrupted watchers.
Oh yeah, and that's the gun he just used. The weapon is the Storm Slinger, and it's a really good weapon because the first shots don't do that much damage, but the amount of damage a shot does increases over time. So if you shoot 5 times in a row, the 5th shot will do so much damage that it'll kill most of the machines. So that's a really nice mechanic of this weapon. But it does also have lots of recoil, so it's hard to control, and it also has some recoil damage, so if you shoot it too much and overload it, you will take damage.
The damage isn't half as bad, but it also knock you back and you lose some time even on star difficulty, so gotta be a little careful with that weapon.
Truly, the sun shines upon us this day. Where are you headed, girl?
West to Meridian.
Open the gate.
The way of
And as you see here again, Rob will look to the left to make sure the mount doesn't spawn all the way at the bottom of the mountain.
Everything he knows. Who the killers were, how they saw me through his focus. Who the woman is. One who looks like me. Why they want me dead. Owen's trail leads
Now
to
upcoming is a pretty long section of just walking simulator, so
and he will pay
enjoy the beautiful landscape of Utah, after which this is modeled.
So I guess I can read one donation.
If you have one, for sure.
Yeah, we have one $5 donation by Mod306, and he says, Palmy wants to PB during Super Metroid, let's help him achieve that. $5 say we shave frames and kill the I think you want to say animals, he says animes. Or something like that. These choices are a bit confusing to me right now, Kappa. Oh, yeah, I see what you did there. It was towards killing the animals for the Super Metroid run later on. So this one's leading by $7 right now. So if you wanna save the animals, you have to donate at least $8. 8 euros. It's euros this time. Thank you for your donation. Yeah, at the start of the run there were lots of people giving you a lot of love in the chat.
Actually, I saw it. I'm very happy you all are here now that I'm able to speak a bit freely, because there's not much to comment here.
Are you reading the SpeedCon chat?
Yeah. I mean, reading, not really. I see it with half of an eye, maybe.
I will let you know if if there's time and people want to talk to you.
Don't ask me where to go if you're lost. I'm a guard.
In a bit, you will see that Robert Mount will slow down for some reason, and that is because on the left-hand side here, there's a dude that gives a mission that will lead to the DLC, and because he gives a special mission, and yeah, the game just really wants you to notice that guy, so the game intentionally slows you down so you notice him. And that's one of the few downsides of having the DLC, because we do use a lot of the DLC weapons and weapon coils to, because they are way better than normal ones. But having the DLC makes that guy spawn and loses a bit of time.
Somewhere. And so's Aaron, that other Outlander I talked to the night before the proving. Aaron said he'd introduce me to his sister if I visited Meridian.
Another thing you will see Rob doing right now is when he triggers the city on the map, he will go into the map and fast travel to the city, which is Meridian in this case, and that means you will fast travel to the city and spawn in front of the gate instead of having to roll there. And in real time, the game doesn't save any time, but because we subtract loads, it does save time. Because yeah.
Over the full course of this 2-hour run, you'll have, like, on HDD, roughly 15 minutes of loading screens, so I hope you enjoy that red loading screen.
What did he mean about Ursa's murder?
I learned to love it.
Here we are. Trying not to break.
Yeah, and also the differences in loading time are huge. I mean, on PC there are people who have less than 3 minutes of loading times, I think. So it's good that we do loadless time on the leaderboards.
Looks like Olin kept a journal.
Olin? I knew he could read contracts, but I never took him for a poet.
No doubt now. Olin knew I was targeted. A map.
So those are examples for bits of dialogue or monologue that you cannot skip, but it's very short in this case.
There's your proof.
How did... I'll...
Leave it
Wait.
out of
I'm not... Don't... Look, feel...
red.
we're now on the way to the next fight, which is the excavation site. And the new meta on star difficulty is just stormsling everything down. Except for a few people that are hard to hit, because they are so far away, I'll use a bow for that. You gotta know, a few months ago, the leaderboards were ultra hard difficulty and easy difficulty. And that was changed to star difficulty to make the leaderboards more homogeneous, because some categories had story and ultra hard, while others had easy and ultra hard. And so, like in the last few months, a lot of new strats were developed to account for that. Especially the Stormslinger got a very prominent place in these runs.
This storm's gonna back down before I do.
Forget.
Who?
Kill her! No, you had your chance.
Over here, Rob will choose specific dialogue options, because that does save time sometimes. You have to skip through less lines. It doesn't save much time, because skipping through one line is like 0.1 seconds. But over the course of your run, it does save a few seconds knowing which dialogue options to choose. And yeah, so we know most of the dialogue options, which one are fastest.
If you have played the game, you might have recognized that character called Olin, and at this point of the game you get the chance to spare him or to kill him. But actually, in a speedrun, you want to spare him, because that's just faster, the animation of letting him go. That could have been a donation incentive now that I think about it, but actually, probably very little people know this game. Well, not very little, but far less than Super Metroid.
There's always the next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for the help.
Maybe they don't know it now, but maybe later on. Or just put it there so people see it and then.
The person Rob just talked to sometimes spawns in a really bad place, and it is kind of RNG where he spawns, so if he spawns really badly, they can lose some time. And also Rob just got knocked off his mount, and that we don't know exactly what happens. It's probably programmed because they don't want you to go too fast into the story or the mission. But after you get knocked off, you have to wait for a little bit before you can get back onto the mount. So it's a bit annoying because you have to wait and roll forward by yourself without the mount before you can get back on. And he will get knocked off again in a moment. But luckily this time you can just get back on immediately. But in like right now there is a bug that can happen, which does lose more time, but luckily it didn't happen.
We've got him quaking! Uh-oh. What's that?
think it's calling in machines. Get ready. Those rocks, they're shattered. Something hit these stones. Something I've never seen before.
Right now we do investigate some stuff. In the game there's unskippable dialogue, so we have to wait.
What are those leather straps? Armor straps. Cut with a knife. And a rock with blood on it. Looks like you could mount some equipment on that thing. There, by the tripod. A used power cell.
Now you might have noticed that I opened the map, closed it again, and then reopened it as quickly as possible. That is because when you open the map and you have discovered new campfires and settlement and stuff since the last time you opened it, the game will play a neat little animation for you, like making one after another appear on the map. And that costs a lot of time and you cannot fast travel to those locations not popped in yet, so if you close it, you just skip that animation. Also, you see these two cannon cats to my left, and it can be really annoying. Like in general, some machines that are close to the path can knock you off your mount and make you lose time, and that's basically not in your hand. But we get more or less lucky this time.
Keep quiet now.
Also a very neat little detail, you see on the right side of the screen, campfire discovered. So what I did is, I went a little bit out of my way and made a little detour by like, I don't know, 5 seconds at most, which discovered another campfire that we'll use in like half an hour or an hour into the run to fast travel to a location, because we gotta get back here.
Yeah, there will be a few more times where we use that, and there's one very obvious time where we use it. We will point it out again when that happens. Well, at that point we will go pretty far out of our way to activate a campfire, but it's worth it.
Maker's End. Not much farther now. All said he found an image of the woman I resemble on an ancient glass. If she's my mother, why would there be traces of her all the way out here? So far from Moorland. I don't get it. Who is she?
Her name is Elizabeth Sumek.
You. Spying through my focus again? Well, go on. What do you know about her?
Stay on your present course. Before long, you'll know as well as I do.
And now we're almost at the tower, which we will have to climb in a moment. There are 2 groups of enemies. The first one we just skipped because they are unnecessary. You don't have to kill them, so we just ignore them. And to get to the second one, there is a skip. It doesn't look hard, but it can be a really tricky skip. If Rob feels it, that's totally fine, because it can be really tricky.
An explosion.
And that's over here. But he did it first try, so that's pretty good. No, you just have to kill everyone here.
I'll handle it.
A neat little detail, you see I have to loot that officer there, because we want to get a thing called a focus in his inventory, and interestingly enough, the game takes a few seconds if you're really fast to spawn in that item on his in his inventory. Probably because they keep checking if you have killed all enemies already. and if not, you cannot loot that item so that you cannot progress in the story.
Some climbing in this game is really slow. Actually, the normal climbing mechanics that you are supposed to use are really slow. So what Rob does here is instead of using the normal climbing path, he jumps on a certain rail, and by that he skips climbing. So he skips a slow part.
Looks like the way up. What's left of it?
We'll have more of that in a second. Shoutouts to Ozzy for finding that beautiful skip. Kappa.
Yeah. Now there's indeed a very hard skip coming up. It only saves 5 seconds, even though it's gonna be really satisfying when he gets it.
Frozen metal most of the way. Not making this easy, Doctor. So they made the focus. 25,000 people? That's bigger than a tribe. So they made machines and devices. I guess those things were
Practicing this only cost me a few nerves. Also notice how I roll sometimes before I jump. Exactly before I jump. That makes it so that Aloy does not grab the lowest handhold possible, because the game kinda tends to make Aloy grab the lowest possible latch or handhold. And by rolling you kinda mitigate that. And Aloy grabs more like a natural handhold to grab. So for some reason the game seems to want the climbing to be even slower.
Yeah, that roll can be really tricky though, because if you time it just a little bit too late, instead of jumping, you'll just roll down and die. So you need to time it good enough to jump.
Alright, made it.
Oh, and spoiler warning right now, because we're gonna have some holograms, which are unskippable, which contain major spoilers for the game. So if you want to play this game or are playing it and haven't reached this point yet, I advise you to stop watching for a bit.
Like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Should there be donations, this would also be a perfect time while I'll wait in this pillar.
18 lawsuits the moment you landed. I assume your data confirms this.
Well, we got 2 donations in, I think, but their names are not visible right now. I'm not quite sure if it's gonna show up in a sec or not, but both of them wish you good luck, Rob, and each donated 25 euros. So thank you for the donations. The names will come up, I will say later on.
Thank you for the good luck, you beautiful people.
Okay, one is Labor Tom.
Hey!
It's worse than that.
Just showed up.
Show me the data then. And I'll take that lunch. Alone. Ted Faro brought Elizabeth Sobek here. But they hated each other. This isn't a glitch. It's a catastrophe.
Fully aware. It's bad.
Bad?
Jesus, Liz.
It's not bad, Ted. It's apocalyptic. You built a line of killer robots
Peacekeepers.
that consume biomass as fuel.
In emergencies.
And you made them capable of self-replication.
Limited, self-manufacture, controlled.
Not anymore. The glitch severed chain of command. The only nation this swarm answers to now is itself.
You think I did?
Everything else is just food. And at the rate it's replicating, Ted, it will strip the Earth bare in 15 months. We're not talking fall of civilization. We're talking extinction.
I get it, Liz. So how do I stop it while it's contained?
It's not contained. It can't be.
You know what I mean.
Right. Before the truth gets out, you mean?
Liz, I will do anything you say. Keep working it, and whatever you recommend, I'll do.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Ted. The Faro robots threatened all life on Earth. But somehow she defeated them. The world of the Old Ones fell, but life went on, or we wouldn't be here.
You'll now see me do a funny thing. Like when I try to call a mount up here, you can see that that was not supposed to work. Apparently, where I stood, that was okay, because there are some areas on this thing, and I only thought it was the balcony, but apparently also where I was, you can call a mount nonetheless. It was probably an oversight by the devs, and it's pretty handy, because when you fast travel while being on a mount, you also spawn in being on a mount, so we save the time after the fast travel to call ourselves a mount and to get onto it, which can sometimes be very finicky because mounts gonna mount.
You've got a choice, Ted.
I know.
I'm speaking to you from a VTOL en route to US Robot Command. In 15 minutes, I meet with General Harris and the rest of the Joint Chiefs.
What? Are you crazy?
Now your choice is what I tell them. Sign, and I'll tell them the wealthiest corporation on Earth has guaranteed the funds necessary to build Zero Dawn. Exactly as I've designed it. Or don't sign, and I will make sure they and everyone else on this planet knows the real cause of the glitch.
Jesus, Liz. You don't have to threaten me. I'll sign.
Look on the bright side, Ted. From here on out, you get to do what you've always been good at. Footing the bill while others get their hands dirty.
God forgive me.
So all
As bold I've and son.
or what?
You
But
we defend
what? Great.
So you saw me just get onto the mount as I said, and now I'm fast traveling, and you'll see I'll be spawning in, already sitting on the mount and being able to ride away. Yeah, another disadvantage, as has pointed out in chat, when you have an HDD is that the map takes a little longer to load in and you have to be able to navigate around using other landmarks or formations of campfires and stuff because you cannot see the map in the background.
Focus is picking up some kind of signal.
As you can see, we will go off-road right now, because at this part, it's faster to go off-road instead of keeping keep following the path, because you just got off such a big part that the advantages of staying on the path, which means the mountain is actually faster, are less big than the advantages of cutting off a certain part.
Also, we'll be riding on a very rough terrain now, but that also saves some climbing, so it's even faster.
Alright, now we will turn the mount hostile again, for the same reason as we did last time, because we're going to call the mount in a moment again, and if we hadn't turned that mount hostile, when we call for our mount, that mount will try to come to us, but it can't, because it cannot jump gaps or something. Or big gaps, so that would just make sure that when we whistle for a mount, that mount will try to get to us even though it can't. So we cannot get onto that mount when we want it. And he will also, Rob will also turn his camera so that the mount doesn't spawn all the way at the back.
I know of them. I killed one at Mother's Watch.
The mount spawn wasn't that good this time, which means he had to wait for a bit before the mount got to him. And we will be entering a fight over here.
No.
And so I left.
So that was a pretty good fight.
Now this part of the run you could consider some mount abuse, because I'm gonna call them out again from up there where we had it before, just to turn it hostile again, or even kill it. So we show all our mount love in this part of the run.
And I posted guards to control access. I urge you to take similar measures, or suffer the consequences. Supply Master Thrawn, out.
A blaze stockpile inside their base. Sabotage that. I found some. Damn. There's
Blood.
sounds.
And again, Rob will turn his camera and call a new mount.
And 2 times again we'll cut across the forest or the grass, leaving the path for a little bit of time save. However, in the woods it's a little difficult not to bonk your mount's head on some trees, because there are so many of them.
And right now we're gonna do something that is a bit weird, because you don't do it wouldn't do it in this way in a normal playthrough. But we're gonna do a mission without even starting it. This is a mission where you have to clear 3 camps where there are some enemies. Normally you would talk to someone who would give you this mission, but right now we are gonna clear the 3 camps without even talking to the person who gave you the mission. This was actually partially intended by the devs that this is possible, because enemies do spawn before you talk to them, and when you do it before talking to them, you also get a different dialogue. So the devs did indeed think about the possibility that you could do the camps before talking to the one who gives you the mission. There's actually a downside to this. This means you don't have a quest marker for the camps, so you have to learn where you need to go, and you also don't know whether you've killed everyone in a single camp. So you need to remember where all the people are in the camps, and need to make sure that you kill everyone, because you won't know that you've missed one person until you get to a point further up. By that point, you have to go back and search your camps and look at which one you missed, and that will lose a lot of time. Is basically a run killer. But if you know the run, you should It shouldn't be too hard to remember all the people, so yeah, if you just know what all the people are and kill them all, there's no problem.
And now...
Now, on star difficulty, enemies are harder to aggro, and they are less likely to get aware of you, but this is another advantage of the Stormslinger. It's freaking loud, and so enemies will come running towards you, and also they get these exclamation mark or question marks above their head, which is helpful in locating them. These two dudes here on top of that hill will not spawn in if you have missed anyone in the camps, so then you know you screwed up.
Go now. We wait on your signal.
And right now we will be going to one of the most chaotic fights, in my opinion, because the spawns of the enemies are kind of hard to understand. But Rob will try his best, I think, to do it as fast as possible, even though it's so chaotic.
You think I'll do my best? We'll see.
And again, we're just gonna ignore these people, because no need to kill them. Alright, now we're going to a big pile of blaze, which is a type of fuel in this game, and we're gonna set it on fire to make it explode and kill a bunch of machines that are standing next to it, as you see in the cutscene.
People that know the run will notice that it is possible to light that pile of blaze from exactly where you spawn into the fight by using the Stormslinger, for example. And I did not do that. That is actually a pretty recent strat that Ozzy explained to me. Shoutouts again to Ozzy. Because when you get the early blaze, this will screw up the spawns of the enemies, because they are like where you enter the fight and not where you'll be spawned in when the fight starts. So this is a more consistent strat, even though it seems slower at the beginning. That was a pretty decent one.
And again, Rob will do the open the map, close the map, and open the map again strat to make sure that the animation where all the new campfires pop up is skipped. And after this cutscene, loading screen, I mean, we will talk to the person that would normally give us the quest and start the mission, but now we will end the mission with them. And normally they'd say, let's kill all the people in the camps, and that's how you start the mission, but right now the thing they'll say is, let's kill all the people in the camps, and you will react by, I already did that, and they will be surprised and amazed by your pure skill.
So upcoming is another section of writing, and you can see me cut across at a few points again. So I don't think so, but if there should be more donations, feel free. Or any announcements or something.
Well, no further donations so far, but there's still one incentive, a bit more left in this run. So later on we have the Metroid, and there's a bit more for saving and killing the animals. So far, killing the animals leading with 30 euros, save the animals with 23 euros. So if you want to save the little sprite animals, you can donate for that. But if you want to go for a PB run, then rather donate for killing the animals.
Poor animals, sounds pretty devastating. And again, we'll have to ride through a herd of machines, which is a little dangerous, and sometimes they actually manage to knock you off the mount, especially since we are not on the path. And that makes us slower, so it's easier for the machines to outrun us, or actually to catch up.
Not quick enough.
Now in a bit you'll see me standing in front of glowing red and blue circles, so-called hololocks. And you have to solve like little puzzles to find out the right combination. And luckily the combinations are not randomly generated, but are deterministically always the same each run, so we can just learn them by heart and enter them.
I haven't seen one of these since I was a little kid. There must be some kind of code. Maybe I should try scanning objects in this area.
You again saw me using that aim strat before the impact of dropping somewhere down to avoid the falling damage animation, which allows us to keep running right after landing. So we don't have to see Aloy's pain. No one wants to see pain.
And again, restart from save. Which is faster loadless, but not faster in real time. And just like many times in the run, we will just ignore these enemies and run past them. And then we will do a skip, which involves jumping on rocks. It can be tricky because you don't really see where you're going and cannot really make out the parts where you need to jump on, but you did the first try, so that's good. And now you have a nice conversation with a person called Silence, but you cannot continue while he's talking, so by picking up this power cell, you will just shut him up. And now, after opening this door, you will shoot down the part where you normally spawn, so that when you spawn, you fall down without taking any damage, and can start the fight immediately. And also, talking to that person called Silence goes through a certain device on Aloy's ear called a focus. That will happen a few times during the run, that Aloy will be talking to someone and you might think who's she talking to, but that's Silence, the one in her ears, so to say.
Okay, so now we'll do something very unspeedrunny. We'll go for a little stroll outside and collect some medicine and look around that beautiful burning room. And that is because we just activated a hologram that's now playing inside, and you cannot skip it, and it doesn't matter if you actually listen to it or not, so we might as well take the time to collect some herbs and some shrooms, which will replenish our health, which we will maybe need because we spam so much Stormslinger. You actually take a bit of damage here and there.
Do we have a time for a donation?
Yes, absolutely.
Very nice. We got a $5 donation by Floha. And he says, just want to take the small donation to only push us to 300 euros, but to also help out Freiland, which in turn helps one of my favorite speedrun marathons. Oh, and please kill the animals. Thank you for the donation.
So we put a railgun in the hand of every
Now the total amount is 300 euros.
Show them where the trigger is
Nice.
and point them to the front.
Really nice.
How the hell do we say
Killing the animals leads now with 35 euros. So people rather kill the animals and save the frames.
So long as humanity holds off the swarm long enough
Not looking good for the poor animals.
finish it. The file I'm sending contains the war plan for Operation Enduring Victory. War plan? This is a war crime. It may be ugly, but it's something. Consider the alternative. Dr. Sobek, I've secured use of a decommissioned orbital launch base outside Bryce, Utah as the Zero Dawn staging area. Plenty of space there. When can you get started?
I've already mailed you a list of alpha and beta candidates. Most are foreign nationals or subjects of corporate holdings, so extracting them...
Leave that to me. You'll get your dream team. Count on it.
Then I'll be off. What is that? Now it...
It's the helix. It's
Wait, what was zero? Now how...
If you paid close attention, you just saw a bit of HDD gang potato silence. That was that hologram in front of us. And since my HDD is so slow, you saw like a head of him made up of, I don't know, maybe 10 polygons. It looked worse than PS2 graphics. Shoutouts again to HDD gang. Now this must be one of the longest loading screens in the whole game, because we are fast driving like once across the whole map in one swoop.
For me, it's one together with one other loading screen. It's the slowest with about 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Wow. We are now meeting a lovely character called the Blameless Murad, and the only thing you can blame him for is that he is as fast as a snail, and you'll see me wait for him now for half a minute maybe, until he managed to creep up those stairs.
Unpleasant, but that's possible. The Sun King is eager to meet you. The machine tamer, curious eye for detail. It's all very intriguing.
I'm not here to intrigue you.
Too late.
Jumping on heads is a very good thing to do while waiting on people.
The gods sure don't mind.
Ignore them. Nobles are like children with wine.
How much time do I have left? Another
Not much.
donation.
But go ahead, we'll have another loading screen, so...
Okay, another 25 euros by Anonymous. And that person said, it's a mix between English and German, so, insane high precision Gerät gameplay poggers.
Thank you!
Thank you!
I know who that is! That comes from some Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think. No, not Odyssey, Origins, where they talk Egyptian and it sounds a little like high precision Gerät. And yeah. And we're making fun of that all the time.
Ah, okay, so it's nice. Thank you for your 25 euro donation.
Yeah, this is another long way to the next mission. But it can be tricky because there are some machines again on your path, so sometimes you get knocked off.
Back in the days when I learned this run, we were still, as I mentioned earlier, running on on easy difficulty instead of story. And then machines notice you way earlier, and it was actually dangerous because if these two bellowbacks noticed you, which they did now, they also alerted the cannon cat on the next island, which would then pretty much always knock you off the mount. So this was a very, very stressful part of the run. But on story difficulty, it's not really, says I, and get knocked off the mount. Thank you, cannon cat.
I mean, you kind of jinxed it.
I absolutely did.
Very close now.
I was wondering when you'd speak up.
And again, you'll see me employ a restart from safe strat, which puts us a little closer to where we want to go. And loading times are removed from the final times on the leaderboard, so this is faster loadless. In RTA, I think it's pretty much as fast. You don't really lose time RTA even. The most annoying thing about restarts from safe is that it resets parts of your UI. Like the weapon you have selected, it'll select the default armor for that weapon if it has multiple ammunitions, sorry. And also on the bottom left you can see a quick menu. It'll also reset that one to a very specific option, and usually I have the call the mount option there, which is not the one that is chosen by default after a reset.
Rob just did a skip, which we call flying skip. First try, it's pretty good because it's a tricky skip. And right now there's one of the hardest skips of the game, which is called gate skip, which involves jumping on the torch, which you see now. But he did it first try, so that's really good. It saves about 10 to 20 seconds, I think.
I'm surprised. The last few times I attempted gate skip, it was really bad every time.
They've built some kind of structure around it.
Wait, did you just say you get it first try every time, like always?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said.
Everything here is wrong. Just get to the mud.
Right now, you get noticed by all the people in this base, but there are so many people. Story-wise, you are told to just to run because fighting will not help.
Yeah, you'd think.
And there are some skips to escaping faster, but most of it is just running away. And unfortunately, even if you kill all the people, which the game totally doesn't expect you to do, and does take some time, there's no special dialogue or animation or cutscene. I've tried, but there is none. Unfortunately.
Watch out for eclipse.
Bridge in sight.
That's the way out.
I know.
Now, as you might have noticed, I waited a little second after that, skipping the cutscene of me rappelling down there. That is because you can softlock the game here if you don't wait for the quest to complete before you fast travel away. So that's a minor detail to notice.
Yeah, that's one of the two potential softlocks, which you have to wait for a little bit to not softlock the game. But the game just doesn't expect you to be so fast. And coming up is one of the, by many considered to be the hardest skip of this game. And but many people put many hours into practicing it, and sometimes you still don't ever get it down consistently because it's just so hard. But it saves a ton of time, so it is worth it. There are some quite hard mechanics considered with that skip. I'll try to explain those and why it saves time as we go.
Thanks for the history.
But they have no idea what lies beneath. We will learn much from this, Aloy.
That's what I'm hoping.
The submarine. A proud tradition. Now we get to see if your attack on their focus network was entirely successful.
What are you talking about? Did I...
Success. Welcome to the Citadel, Aloy. I'll check back with you in a moment.
But first, we were just rolling over there.
You're not going to make any shards by standing out here.
Shards. First time in the Citadel. Gotta see the sun ring from on high.
This is insane.
Hardly.
They're going to see... I see you've been here before.
Obviously. Now, it's very important that you hear what I'm about to say. I've shown you the way in, but this humble vent marks a point of no return. Before you descend into the depths here, you should be fully committed, equipped, and focused. No distractions.
I think besides mounts, one of the biggest time wastes is actually silence.
I won't tolerate whining.
Yeah, that's true.
You'll tolerate what I give you, Silence. I didn't ask you along for the ride.
Welcome to Project Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn. We found it.
Are you?
Please take a seat and wait for your next. Please proceed into viewing room 1 for an important...
What was this place?
A holographic theater.
And these cutscenes that we're gonna skip also involve some major spoilers, but we can just skip them luckily.
Earth didn't cease to exist.
He said it could not be stopped.
But it was. Somehow Elizabeth saved us. I've got to keep looking. Find out how she did it. Kestrels. They got in. Through the vents.
Let nothing.
I can pass them. Undetected.
Spread out!
The data points.
If it moves, kill it!
What is this place? Initiating playback.
So... the whole Earth destroyed. But then... remade?
Yes. By a machine.
Intruder!
A machine
Get her!
of creation.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you do, don't. Is there another route?
I've done this.
What we're gonna do right now, we have to collect a meta, which is an object that is one level above you. But if you just get close enough to that level above you, you can kind of clip through or grab the emitter through the ceiling. And coming up is the skip I talked about earlier. And what this is gonna do, Rob's gonna go into a room where you're supposed to kill all the people in the room. But instead of killing all those people in the room, we're just gonna skip this whole room by climbing a certain pillar. And this is a skip, what Rob is doing right now, and it's really hard. But by doing this, until a certain part in the game will think that you are still in this room and fighting those enemies. Rob just did the skip pretty fast. That's pretty good. But there will have some consequences. The fact that the game thinks you're still in there, and I will explain those in a bit. But even though the game thinks you're still there, you can still continue with all the cutscenes and next missions.
Elizabeth said a new generation of humans spawned inside such places. Used to hold some
I can see. At least it was that you convert.
you're in all the it does do you
And
then
In a moment, we will be set in an arena together with a very deadly machine. And this machine is supposed to kill you by the enemy of the game set that up. But yeah, weapons are up above on a platform, and you're trying to use the behemoth, which is the machine, the behemoth's strength against it, by letting the behemoth take down the towers and make sure the platform falls down so you can get your armor weapons back. But as you can see here, there are two platforms in this cutscene. One that actually falls down and one that stays up. And that's because the one that falls down is there because, that's what the story was. The behemoth hits the towers and it falls down. But one stays up because part of the game still thinks you're in the room fighting the people, and while you're fighting the people, that platform is still supposed to be up. So it does show one platform as still standing. And that's why you see it that way. And now killing the behemoth is actually pretty easy once you have your weapons. And another consequence of the skip that we will see now, because currently there should be an invasion going on in a certain area of the map, and because of the invasion you cannot fast travel there. However, the game thinks you're still fighting the enemies in the cave down below, and because of that you can actually fast travel there. And when you fast travel there, the glitch will still be going on. You cannot continue because there's a glitch. But when you restart from save, when you get there, the game is really good at fixing the glitch when you restart from save. So just by restarting from save, you fix everything and you can continue, and you saved a bunch of time because you can fast travel somewhere where you normally shouldn't be able to fast travel to.
So as Brewing said, you'll see a little magic trick. There are no enemies, and I'll restart from safe in a second, and apparently the game fixes itself, and then there are enemies, and we are just running through that invasion, not giving a damn about the enemies until we meet a huge machine called Thunderjaw, which we then actually have to fight to progress the story. So you'll see me in a second shooting the Thunderjaw. That is because it has to be aware of you, be aggroed, and as soon as it starts attacking you, you'll get a cutscene which you can skip, and then you are in the actual fight. So that's why I'm shooting it with an arrow, not really dealing some damage, but drawing its attention towards me. And what I didn't tell you earlier is you should actually, I wanted you to remember the face of Varl, because in a second we'll be playing Where is Varl? And actually I found him pretty quickly, because you gotta interact with him. After the fight he'll run to a specific point, but you can talk to him even prior to that. The only thing is you have to find him to do so. That can be pretty annoying in runs. Now inside this mountain, you'll see me hug the right-hand side wall. That is because there are two dialogue options you can get inside here. On the left side, the dialogue is just a little bit longer, and you have to wait for the dialogue to be finished so that you can talk to the High Matriarchs, these old three women standing there in front of that door, which we want to pass now.
Excuse me, talk amongst.
I see you're inside.
Figured I might be hearing from you.
Shall we begin?
I never stopped. Looks like I didn't like this door very much.
Genetic identity confirmed. Entry authorized.
Of course they
Greetings,
needed it.
Dr. Sobek. You are cleared to proceed. Welcome to Lyceum.
So, what was this place, exactly?
The dream of Apollo. Never realized.
Priority control shadow dust. Identiscan malfunction rectified. Alert the lab. Route 1 access unsealed.
This is going to be interesting.
So actually inside this mountain there's a big twist in the story and a big reveal story-wise, but we don't care for story, we just want to go fast, so we just skip through all of that and we're leaving it right again.
Who needs story when you've got speed?
Exactly. So upcoming another minute or two of enjoying Walking Simulator through Utah.
I'm not far from Bitchcliff.
Thanks for the good luck, Gabe.
Into the town's marketplace.
Now, you'll see me in a second going over a bridge, actually, just to turn around right away. We'll be leaving our path again, or the fastest path, to activate another campfire. And per se, this wouldn't be faster to fast travel there later, but if we would fast travel to the other campfire, which would lie on our way without activating this one, there's like an attack going on, and Aloy be like, oh no, we gotta help those civilians, and while she talks, you can't whistle for a mount. I mean, try whistling and talking at the same time. It's actually pretty difficult to do. So that's why it is faster, because you can call a mount right away after the fast travel without having to wait for her to finish speaking. And here goes another restart from safe, which will place our mount in a very convenient spot. And that one was found recently by Everyday Aussie. Again, shoutouts. He found a lot of restart from checkpoint strats recently.
This must be Pitchcliff. Murad's agent should be at the marketplace by now.
And that was all the business we gotta do in this village. And we're heading out again.
Now we're heading to the next fight, and I run both story difficulty and ultra hard difficulty, and because of that I can kind of prepare the runs. And in this fight, I think there's one of the biggest differences you notice. Because on story, this fight is it's not easy. I don't want to say easy, but it is. You cannot die in the fight on story mode. So in story, it's just killing everyone as fast as possible. While on ultra hard, it's a really tense fight, because this is one of the only fights on ultra hard where you can actually die. So you really need to be way more stealthy on ultra hard. That's way more important there, and you also need to be really focused on not dying more than anything else. So that is a big difference between the categories here. Because as you may see, like Rob missed one shot, and that means most of the people saw him and noticed him. And it's not a big problem. I mean, you can still just shoot everyone one shot, and then it's fine. But on ultra hard, this may have meant death, because if they notice you that early, they will shoot at you, and the arrows do so much damage, and you can really die. Yeah, that guy was hiding. I don't know what he was doing, but he wasn't really contributing to the speed.
Not really. Giving his best not to participate in the fight at all.
Yeah.
Ursa must be in there. We have to get through.
And now we're just gonna investigate this house, and after that, we will fast travel to the campfire we just discovered. Which we just took a detour for to discover it, and now we will use it.
You also saw me doing the open, close, and open right away map strat again. To fast snap the popping in of fast travel destinations on the map.
I think that's the last time we do it in this run, I think.
Might be, yeah.
Also, some people may have noticed that the appearance of the mounts actually changed throughout the run, and that's because there are 3 types of mounts. There's one called the Strider, which is the one you get at first most of the time. He has no horns; it's just a boring, plain old Strider thing, boring. But then there's a Broadhead, which has horns, long, straight horns. And then you've got a Charger, and Rob is currently riding a Charger. It has these curved horns. And there is a debate which mount is the best, and most people say the Broadhead or the Broadhead or the Charger. And unfortunately for him, most people don't like the Strider the most.
I got pretty lucky there. That machine nearly knocked me off my mount and missed me only by a couple of centimeters.
Lucky, there was skill.
There was skill, yeah. I was very skillfully riding a straight line and praying.
You mentally kept the trampler away.
Every step of the climb.
More corrupted.
Not corrupted, but they will not tolerate humans.
So what else is new?
Now you see me doing some wild parkour here, and that is actually slower like by a second or two than compared to the old strat we were doing, but it'll avoid, give me a sec, I'll focus first.
But I can get through this.
Come on. There we go. It'll avoid machines spawning in, especially a so-called Stormbird, which is an airborne machine that shoots electricity, and it can easily knock you off your mount and even shock the mount, and then you cannot get onto it for a while. And if you get hit by that, it's really slow. So if you go for world record attempts, you might want to not use this route, but it's much more consistent. Therefore, slower by a few seconds. Shoutouts to Elkia who found this strat.
And right now, Rob turns his camera back so that he gets a better mount spawn. Because if you just look forward, that means that the mount cannot spawn in the whole field of view you have. Which means most of the time the mount spawns in a really bad position. And you have to wait for a bit.
You made a climbing path for me, but left an army of machines for me to deal with?
Since when were machines any obstacle for you?
Here goes a minor skip that was found by Marin. Thanks for that. It saves you from having to climb. Well, if you get it a little better than I do, it actually saves some time. Because it's only like a couple of handholds that you save.
This is exactly the kind of place. It's
In this mission, we will have another really hard skip, which is by some considered to be the second hardest skip in the game. And it also involves some weird mechanics, which I will again try to explain to my best ability.
That's my way across.
It involves using holograms and restarting from saves. Because right now we are in this mission there are 2 holograms, and normally you would just go to the first hologram, watch it, then talk to someone, then go to the second hologram and watch that. But in a speed run, we don't do that because it's slow, you know. So while the first hologram is playing, which is like 2.5 minutes long, we go all the way back, and then we do a skip to make sure we can get somewhere you shouldn't be, namely at the second hologram. And what happens then is that you can actually start the second hologram while the first one is still playing. And when you do that, and the first hologram ends, which you can know when a certain quest ends, you can restart from save. You will teleport to the first hologram room, which we were just in. You can talk to a person, and after you've talked to the person, you can actually restart from save again, and then you will be immediately teleported to the second hologram room, which means you don't have to walk all the way over there, but you just get teleported there. And going to that second hologram where you shouldn't be involves a pretty hard skip, a pretty hard jump, I should say. But you do have 2.5 minutes to complete it. Like, it doesn't matter whether you do it within a minute or you just make it within the 2.5 minutes. It just matters if you do it. And that hard skip is over here. Luckily, he got it first try, which is pretty good. But sometimes you still get stuck here for a bit.
Sorry.
Oh
also,
no!
Sorry for the delay.
He did the skip and and then he got stuck a bit, and trying to get loose, he fell down, and now I had to do the skip again. Which really sucks, but I mean, Rob is such a good runner, he can do it twice. Easy.
Should be in time. I can judge by the music.
Nice. So, Rob made it within the 2.5 minutes. And now we're in the second hologram room, and Rob started the second hologram, and now the skip is complete. Because in a moment the first hologram will end, and we will know that, because at the top left the quest will end. And then we restart from save, talk to someone, and restart from save again to get teleported immediately to the second hologram.
Now, as soon as I talk to that person and restarted from save again, there will be a second hologram playing, which is also a big spoiler. I'll try to go outside the room so it is quiet, but you could still read the subtitles, and I highly recommend not to do that if you haven't played the game before. Because, yeah, it's a big spoiler. And usually, during the second hologram, I would teach people how to insult Ted Farrow. That is the villain of this game in German, but I'll leave that out for now. But if you need some daily German lessons, here goes my shameless self-plug. You might want to join me on my Twitch channel. And I'll be right back. This is a good time for a pee break.
Yeah, so well, how's chat doing? Are you guys still awake? Or just woke up, like me?
Always so boring.
What? I mean, I haven't played the game yet, but the music's really chill.
Yeah, True.
Lel, apparently I dropped the controller and opened the menu, which is bad. Because the dialogue does not progress when the menu is open.
Oh, I was thinking that will progress. I'm not quite sure. So you're telling me another pee break?
Yeah, if you want to.
The chat said you were really on a really good pace for PB, I think.
I don't think that would have PB'd. I died at the beginning.
Believe in
But
yourself.
Yeah, otherwise, the pace was pretty good, indeed. Yeah, if you haven't played the game, I really, really recommend it. The story just got me hooked so much. The urge to explore and to find out what happened, and also the graphics are awesome. And very little pop-ins unless you speedrun the game, then you start to notice the limits of the HDD.
The world, not a...
Now, Silence will tell us through our focus that the Master Override, which is the item we just picked up, doesn't override gravity, which is a pity because it's pretty easy to fall to our death here, this passage.
Try not to fall to your death. The Master Override doesn't override gravity.
Even in 3 years, there hasn't been an update which makes sure you can override gravity with the Master Override.
I'm very disappointed, Gorilla, if you hear me. I'm very disappointed.
For our but some the I help because when I know which
Haiti.
Yeah.
So
I take my
oh.
Now we'll be pretty much starting the endgame now. Like the last few missions.
Yeah, the end game will take place mostly around one city called Meridian. So we will not do any long fast travels anymore.
Thanks, Esprit. Oh, he was talking about himself, because I did that as well. You're not alone. Don't feel alone.
Oh, and this is also one of the longest loading screens in the game.
Yeah, again, fast traveling pretty far across the map, and the game has to load the whole city. Which is probably pretty big. one of the last restart for safe strats coming up here. As soon as my HD lets me. I think it won't let me. Aha. And yeah, you can roll back during the screen still being black. So it might look a little weird because we spawn in right into a dialogue if I do it right. But actually you are rolling, just not being able to see it and starting the dialogue that way.
I've sent him. I'm glad she wouldn't want to tell him.
Only.
If I'll error take out. Hey, look, but you would. How fine we will.
Can't wait for the PS5 release. All these loading screens will be gone.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay, right now we're going to a warehouse where there's a bomb. And we need to stop that bomb from exploding by pushing it out a window. But there's a skip we can do there, because you're talking to a person over there, and while you're talking you cannot interact with the bomb or anything. However, there's a really small moment in between the conversation at which you actually can interact, but there's a very short period, so you need to spam to get it. And I think you may have missed it, because you really need to spam really fast and be kind of lucky to get it.
A lot of blaze.
There are only a few frames in which you can interact.
And you have to do it like twice. After you got the first half, you gotta move to the right and have like another 1 or 2 frame window. So this trick is, you get it rarely. Also, HDD gang again, as you can see the city is not loaded in and we can just look through the structures everywhere. You gotta love that. So much for saying there are not many pop-ins in the game when you play it casually. But this is really the worst instance during the whole run.
Last like that since the liberation. A moment of your time, Outlander?
There's smoke rising from the edge.
I mean, I didn't even notice that stuff wasn't loaded in until you said it, because I'm just so used to stuff not being loaded in speedruns. But it's only speedruns. In casual playthrough, that doesn't happen often.
Wish I could be there to see this.
And now we're going to another fight, at which at first we have to fight 3 people, but those are pretty easy to kill. 6 or 5 Glazed Hearts, which are flying machines, which we will have to kill. The problem is the first 2 are pretty far near you, so you can kill them pretty easily with the Storm Slinger. But the other ones, they fly overhead and go really far away before coming back. So if you want to hit them before they, instead of waiting for them to come back, we can use the Storm Slinger, because the Storm Slinger has infinite range, I think. So as you can see here, Rob can hit those Glazed Hearts in the back, even though with other weapons you wouldn't be able to. So that's another advantage of using the Storm Slinger in this fight. Besides it doing like a lot of damage. And now this fight is over, and in a moment we will be heading into the real final mission of the game.
Hey, it's but you, please.
He with, it will weak.
I'm perhaps yes.
And
no. quietly does it. Panic in the city will only create another enemy. And do keep me appraised of each new arrival. Word but. Other.
That's the final fast travel of the game. So say goodbye to the loading screen. Wait, never mind. A few more, but just not fast travels like restart from saves or on the wait loading screens.
Owen's apartment feels empty. Should I sleep? Did I leave anything unfinished?
Campfires, perhaps? Massing forces for the long march to the city gates?
It's not with smoke.
Then what is it?
The end. Or how it begins, anyway.
I see Rob's talking Discord, but I cannot hear him. I don't know if I'm the only one with this problem. Just like at the start.
Oh, let me try something. Oh. Hello?
Still cannot hear him. Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I can hear him, I think.
The Deathbringers you spoke of?
To the guns! To the guns! Now!
By the sun, do as she says! Set loaded! All of you, be ready to fire! Will the guns hold them back?
I actually think that shot was meant to look dangerous or threatening, but it doesn't to me. Not really. There you have it.
No! Rally the vanguard. Send reinforcements.
Aloy, no!
We need those guns!
He will cut you down!
Not this time!
So right now Rob is gonna shoot the guy by hitting him over the the railing, but that was a good shot. It can be tricky to hit that shot, but he got it first time, so that's good. Now Rob jumped down. That's really unfortunate. That happens sometimes.
HDD gang.
HDD.
Yeah, there's a skip. Normally you have to open a door with your spear, which is an animation, so it takes some time, but you can also jump around. But there are some invisible walls that you have to dodge, so it can be hard. But he got it this time, so that's good. Also, this is a fight called Rich Defense, and Everyday RC recently came up with a new strat for it. Normally we use one weapon, and we just shoot everyone with that one weapon. But now, as you just saw, Rob used the Ice Cannon, which is a really strong weapon, to hit the Deathbringer, which is the big machine, to one-shot the Deathbringer. And you need to hit a specific shot on the Deathbringer, its cameras to be specific. And it can be hard to aim correctly, but of course Rob is a perfect aimer, so totally fine. And then use a Storm Singer to finish off the smaller machines. And this strat is really new. It's maybe just over a week old, so there are two parts of this fight. So for the first part, I think Rob will be doing this strat, but for the second part, which is the harder part, he will be using old strats by using a certain weapon called the Osram cannon, which is an overpowered cannon, but it lacks range and precision.
The Osram cannon is, by the way, more or less the intended way to do that fight by the devs,
Yeah.
I would say. And especially when you play new game, the Osram cannon is most likely still the choice because you don't need any modifications. Because the ice cannon wouldn't be as strong usually if I hadn't put like all the best coils into it.
Also, right now, Glazed Hearts will spawn, which are the same machines as we just fought a minute ago. And sometimes one can get stuck in the back. On the story this happens only in the story difficulty. That really sucks, because that means either you have to shoot it with the Storm Slinger, which can be pretty hard to aim, or you have to walk all the way up to it to kill it. So that can be really annoying if one Glazed Heart gets stuck all the way at the back. But luckily this time it didn't happen.
Also, that seems to be related to the difficulty. I saw it happen on Ultra Hard, but it's far less common. Also, on normal difficulty, it never happened to me, but on story difficulty, it happened a few times to me already.
So this fight is now over. And then
So, yeah.
You tell them.
In a second, we'll meet Tab again from the beginning, and he'll be very worried about Aloy. And chat please do me a favor. You need to spam Aloy, 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 exclamation mark 1111. I'll tell you when. For good luck, of course. Right now, after the screen turns bright again. Oh God, Aloy! Aloy, please!
Aloy!
Aloy! Aloy!
By all mother, you survived. I thought you were killed.
Are they?
No, wounded, but alive, mostly. The machines blasted through, then kept going. They marched on the spire, dragging that thing with them.
Take care of the others, Tab. I've gotta go.
So you'll see me get stuck on an invisible wall in a few meters, in a few rolls. That is because there are some structures crashing down. I think those are lifts. And the game apparently does not want you to die at this point of the game, so it hinders you from going in there. And then there'll be a long leg, aka Space Chicken, which can be really annoying because the attack can knock you back and lose you some time. And we're now on our way to the really final fight of the game. One last enemy left to deal with. You'll see me turn the camera down again to get a better mount spawn, and this works pretty consistently. Very nice. Mount coming to pick me up. Very sad we missed out on the worst dub of the whole game. There's a lovely scream that sounds so ridiculous at this point sometimes, but not this run.
And here are some tricky jumps. The first part is really easy. Sometimes Aloy grabs onto the wrong thing, but this was pretty good. But now there's a tricky jump. You can fall down, but luckily he got it correctly. Because if you fall down there, it's like 2 minutes before the end of the game. So if you're on a PB run and then you fall down there, which loses like a minute, it really hurts.
So after the next restart from save, so the next loading screen time will be coming up pretty soon. So that you are aware. Should be like 20 seconds or so from now. More like a minute. Loading screens, HDD, you know.
So Rob is now finding this Deathbringer. He's waiting for the invisibility frames to end. Then he hits the cameras. This was a really fast kill. And after this loading screen, he will be. He'll press this triangle, and that's the end of the run. And he purges Hades.
And time.
System threat.
Nice, GG.
I'm more than a threat.
GG.
What, thank you. What was it? 2:42. That's actually pretty close to my PB.
Nice.
That's not
That's
bad.
really good.
What's your PB?
2 hours. Let me check actually. I just got one recently, so I'm not too sure. It's 2 hours, 2 minutes 11.
So
if I
without the
haven't
loading
messed up the
screen.
map thing. No, that was
the map.
Yeah, if you hadn't done the map thing, I think it would have been a PB.
Yeah, savage. Happens. I'll get another PB sometime.
Yeah, totally.
So, at this point, I want to give some shout-outs. First of all, to SpeedCon. Thank you so much for having me, for letting us show this beautiful game. And I hope you really enjoyed the run. I did, for sure. Then I want to thank Brewing for the commentary. It was a great pleasure, and you did really well. Also, shoutouts to Elkia, who got me into running this game and running into speed and into speedrunning in general. I was considering doing it before, but then I saw his run on a speedrun marathon, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's the game, that's for me. And I'm so grateful for that. Also, thanks to the rest of the HCD community, like Legus, Charlatan, Indy, Everyday Aussie, Marin, Ian, Psycho, Esprit, Liberton, and many more. And special shoutouts to my beloved fat cat, CTG. And if you are interested in running this game, I'd say we are a very friendly bunch. And you can join us on speedrun.com/HCD. You'll find some nice tutorials there, and also a Discord link. We are very helpful on the Discord, so if you have any questions, just pop by and contact us. And I think that's it from me. Brewing, do you have anything else to add?
I really want to thank you, of course, for letting me do the commentary, or asking me to do the commentary. I really appreciate it, and that was so fun. And of course, thank you, SpeedCon, for letting me do the commentary. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Okay, then thank you, GG's to Rob, and thank you, Brewing, for the commentary. So I guess I'm just announcing the next run, and it's gonna be Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, run by 7erase7 on any percent normal, because we met the incentive. So stay tuned, we're having a break. See you in a few minutes.